The Senate is closing in on an immigration deal. The Judiciary Committee may mark up something as early as the week of May 6th, but it all depends on who you ask. A framework for the proposal could come tomorrow, could come sometime next week, or maybe it's May. If a deal does get done, it would be the first comprehensive immigration bill since 1986. Joining me now is a member of the Gang of Eight. It's that group of bipartisan senators who are negotiating how to write this bill, New Jersey Democratic Senator Bob Menendez, who's also, by the way, chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee. So a lot we could be talking to you about considering what's going on in North Korea, but let's start with immigration. Marco Rubio's spokesperson said the following about that Senator Rubio has said from the outset that we will not rush this process, so it's good that senators and the public will have weeks to study this proposal before the Judiciary Committee will mark it up. Senator, what interests me there is that he said we'll have weeks to study this proposal. That seems to hint to me you guys are really close to having a framework to release to the public. Are you?
Yes. Chuck, we are just finishing up legislative language to encapsulate all the agreements that we've come to, all of the major issues on a pathway to legalization, on border security, on future flow of workers, on ag jobs, on DREAM Act. All of those have largely been agreed to. Now, of course, putting legislative language, as you know, takes time. And in that process, when people read the language, some member might say, well, that's not exactly what I meant, and so you have to refine it. But we're there.
What is your concern of what the biggest sticking point could be?
Well, I think that we have met the challenges of all of the biggest sticking point being that the AFL-CIO and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce have come to an agreement on future flow of workers, which is one of the toughest challenges and one of the reasons the last time in 07 that we debated immigration
reform. But you really think that's stickier? You really think that was stickier than this idea of a border security metric, figuring what that is, before you trigger the start of the pathway to citizenship for those that are here who are undocumented?
The border security metric is very objective. We have vetted to make sure that it can be achieved. I would personally never sign on to an agreement in which the border security metric would be an absolute impediment towards a pathway to legalization and to citizenship for the 11 million. I believe the border security metrics can be met, help further increase significantly the border security, and at the same time provide the pathway for the 11 million who are undocumented to come out of the shadows into the light.
All 8 of you sticking together on this, including Marco Rubio, have you come to an agreement? Let me ask you this. Have you come to an agreement on the number of years that the pathway to citizenship will take? Is it 8 years? Is it 10 years? Is it 12 years?
Well, that goes through a process as determined by some of not only those metrics that we just talked about, but the time frame that it will take for an individual to go through the whole process of coming forward, going through a criminal background check, learning English, doing all the elements of what will earn you the right towards permanent residency and then U.S. citizenship. So that's going to be defined by that process, but it'll be a fair but tough process, one that I certainly can embrace, one that I think immigration advocates across the country will embrace, and one that will also ensure that we know who is here to pursue the American dream, that we know that we have a group of individuals who can no longer be an underclass and exploited and oppress wages for all Americans. I think this will be good for the country. It'll be good for our security. It will be good for our economy, and it will keep to our values as a nation of immigrants.
But Senator, is there a minimum number of years? You know, there's some immigration advocates out there that are nervous that even 8 years is too long, 5 years is too long. What is that minimum going to be?
Well, we'll talk about that when we release the bill finally, but I would just simply say that I say to my friends in the immigration advocacy community, look at what the pathway was before in different bills, and the reality is that there is a certain period of time that will be invoked no matter what. For example, if we say that we've always said that you have to wait at the back of the line, which means all those waiting to come into the legal fashion have to be cleared out first, that's going to be determined by how we ratchet up the number of visas for those who have been verified and have been approved. So that's all part and element of what the time frame will be.